To see the fully uncut version of this video, head over to patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons.
What's that like to live deliciously? Chaos reigns.
Please don't scream.
Nah, Sid, don't you blame the movies. Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
What's going on? My name is Jonjo Lyons, and today I'm here to present to you my review for At Dawn They Sleep. Written and directed by Brian Paulin, At Dawn They Sleep stars all of these. Stephen and Ian are ruthless drug lords who are in the middle of a war with their rival Billy Ray Douglas. One night, Stephen and Ian escort two girls home with them who actually seem to be stranger than they are. The next morning, they wake up and the girls are gone, and Stephen and Ian are not feeling so well and soon find out their lives have been changed forever. They find out that the girls were angels that infected them with a vampire-type virus. In exchange for immortality, Stephen and Ian, along with the other hordes of vampires, are to kill off the human race so that the angels can take back what should have been theirs. The vampires begin their slaughter until the demon world steps in to put an end to the angels' plan, for the demons are satisfied with the way the three worlds coexist. So, first, I just wanted to apologize to all of you for last week's episode. I made the mistake of choosing an extreme horror movie of high quality, and as I was reminded by celebrated musician and friend of the show, Disinterested Handjob, I should not be covering movies that are competent, much less good. I truly don't know what I was thinking, and all I can do now is just try to make things right. So this week we return to the absolute bottom of the barrel with a film that I picked for one reason and one reason alone: the poster. Let's take a look at this thing for a moment, shall we? Let's start from the top, where we see a pretty scary looking vampire, some fire, and then another scary looking vampire. Beneath this, there's a quote that reads, "An outrageous mix of extreme horror and over-the-top action," which sounds pretty perfect to me. Next, we have the main scary vampire of the poster bearing her fangs, and finally the title sitting above the vampire's fat tits. Just lovely. Now that to me is a work of art, and not just because of the tits. It's well put together, tells you everything you need to know about the movie, and has tits on it. I genuinely don't know how it's taken me this long to cover this one, and again, I can only apologize. But before we get into all of that, I just want to remind you, you can see this video completely uncut at patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons for as little as $2 a month. Not only do you get access to the uncut videos, but also the Discord community, who I'm not afraid to say are some of my favorite people in the world. We say it's not a cult, but, well, there's hours and hours of extra content you can check out there, and all for the price of a cup of coffee. How could you not? We've also got a fundraiser going at gofundme.com/the big studio upgrade, so if you want to see me stream horror games real soon, go and donate whatever you can. But if you're not into any of that, please click subscribe, ring the bell, and leave a comment telling me what your favorite movie poster is. Whatever it is, there's no way it's going to be better than this movie's. That's a fact. But anyway, I'm in the mood to watch one man realize a script so far beyond his budget, it's ridiculous, so let's not waste any more time. Get ready to see a gunfight so sick it would make Keanu Reeves jealous. This is At Dawn They Sleep. The movie begins with this bloke, Stephen, getting up after some sex and paying this fine young woman for her services. He says he doesn't remember seeing her around here before, but maybe he'll see her again.
Yeah, you'll see me around. And you'll meet some of my friends.
I would normally expect Stephen to pick up on how ominous that sounded, but he did literally just empty his balls, so I'm surprised if he's listening to her at all. The phone rings, and on the other end is Ian, who tells Stephen he better come down here as he has a tape he needs to hear and the deal went bad. Stephen then tells the woman he's got to go in the most romantic way possible.
Alright, I gotta go. Leave.
I could tell I'm gonna like this guy. Cut to this building where Stephen is interrogating someone.
Now you see, that's what I want to avoid.
Stephen asks his remaining employee about the missing 5 kilos, and the man says they delivered all 20. Stephen says the buyer only got 15, and the man says their scales must be off. Stephen then pulls out a tape which he says has a conversation on it between the man and someone called Billy Ray Douglas. Basically, Billy is a rival dealer who the guy in the chair sold the 5 keys to, which was a mistake.
Shut him up.
The two men then go to get a beer when things take a turn. to the opening credits and then to Steven walking down this hall and into this room where he meets this fella, Rob. Rob moans about having to put on dance nights to stay open as the people who attend are fake and don't care about the music. After more complaining about real music and how Metallica are now, Rob asks where Ian is and Steven says he's out looking for some girls. He then asks about the two men we just saw Steven interrogate and he says he took care of it.
You killed them? You f***ing killed them? You motherfucker, you killed them? Hey, they stole from me. They stole a lot from me. The f*** you expect? A deal that big, you f*** up, so you kill them?
Cut to this woman in black lipstick. Oh hi, my name's Jonjo Lyons and I'll be your toilet for the evening. As Ian offers her a beer. She says she doesn't drink, so Ian offers her some food and she says she doesn't eat.
Is there anything that you do?
He said doo-doo. She pushes him up against the fridge saying she has something in mind as we cut to Steven and his girl Angeline. He offers her the same stuff but she also declines, so they get down to business. Then in a surprising turn of events, Angeline bites Steven's neck and sprouts wings. Cut to Ian also getting his neck chewed on and then to the morning where we find him a little bit poorly. We see Steven also isn't feeling so great, having chucked up into his cereal. And he's wearing a Death King t-shirt. That's awesome, man. I love that movie and actually reviewed it way back in the day. Yeah, I know. I look different. Ian sits and asks when the girls left, but Steven doesn't know. He then asks if Steven noticed anything strange about them, but again he says he doesn't know. Ian says he blacked out after the girl got on top of him and Steven wonders if they poisoned them. He then goes to check if they took anything, leaving Steven to do this.
Oh, man.
Bravo. Ian comes back a second later saying they didn't touch anything and goes back to bed as we cut to the pair at work. They argue about Ian going to Florida as Steven says he needs him for backup, but Ian says all he does is stand there. Steven storms off as we cut to him mincing down the road. A car slowly stalks behind him, which Steven notices and takes off running. And there's a couple of things I love here. For one, the metal soundtrack, which has been great from the start, but also this moment. You can tell by the lighting and the fact that we can see the top of the wall that this set was built outside so that the car could crash through it, and you've got to respect the creativity. Steven chucks this TV as the driver jumps out, revealing himself to be Rob from the club. He shoots Steven in the chest and gets up close for the killing blow. Cut to sometime later as Ian finds his friend somehow still alive and tries to get him some help. Ian asks if he got a good look at the shooter and Steven tells him it was Rob, leading them to wonder whether he's one of Billy's men. Steven then makes the obvious point that he should be dead right now, then asks Ian how he found him, but he says he doesn't know. He just knew something was wrong. Cut to Rob walking down the street when Ian and Steven spot him, give chase and fully crash into the car he was hiding behind. Ian jumps out and claps Rob as Steven, who seems fine now, draws for the axe. They then lead Rob out into the woods where Ian finds it hard to shoot him for some reason. Rob fights back but is quickly knocked to the ground once more. Steven then hands Ian the axe.
How does that feel, huh?
Steven pulls a knife and he shoves it into Rob's forehead, which he survives incredibly. Rob then tells Ian he should have joined Billy's gang when he had the chance instead of being Steven's lapdog, and tells him to go f*** himself. We see the sun setting and then cut back to the guys at home. Ian asks Steven if he's alright and he says it hurts when he bends down. I mean, in this scene he says he must have been hit with debris, but are you having a f***ing laugh? There was a giant hole in your chest. See a doctor. Ian says in a couple of days they're going to pay Billy Ray a visit, to which Steven agrees, then says he's going to take a walk outside. Cut outside to Ian hearing the whispers of the night. He starts to feel something as Steven collapses into his closet. Both men then start their transformations, and while it's no American Werewolf in London, it's still pretty entertaining. Plus, Ian coughs up a load of here. I have no idea where any of that came from, but fair play. At the same time, Stephen coughs up blood and wipes it all over his face. Cut to these angels whispering something I couldn't quite make out, something about awakening, maybe, then to the morning as we find the boys in cocoons. Cut to night again as it rains, and then to Rob breaking out of his cocoon with vampire teeth. We see Stephen has the same teeth and then cut to them inside together, made up like vampires. Stephen says he can hear people dreaming while Ian seems to be having a hard time.
Oh, what the f is that smell?
Blood.
He's having a little trouble adjusting.
Stephen deduces their transformation was the angels' work, and Ian asks why they're going around breeding vampires. The angel says humans don't know anything, they're just a higher breed of monkey for Christ's sake, and Ian pulls her up for using the Lord's name in vain.
Would you please be quiet?
Stephen asks if they're angels or not, and she says they are, but nothing like the stories humans know. Ian asks if they watch over humans and protect them, but the angel says no. Why would she waste her time watching a monkey? That's down to the dead family members finding it funny we believe in angels but don't believe in ghosts. It's all in my opinion. Yeah, that's right. Come at me, Christian Coalition. Take a swing, Zach Baggins. I'll your shit up. Ian says the angel seems to have a problem with humans, and she says they don't deserve this beautiful world and it should belong to them. She then tells them it's time to feed, and the most satisfying blood is that of a holy man. Ian asks about daylight, and the angel says it only weakens them, which if you think that factors into the plot in any way later on, you're a cunt, should shut your mouth. Then crosses, to which she laughs, saying they can drink holy water and it wouldn't do a thing. She tells them to enjoy their first night out, and we cut to a church. Inside, this bloke is sleeping, this bloke is walking down some stairs, and this bloke is counting donated money, half of which he pockets. A priest enters this room to blow out a candle and notices the window open and Ian standing in the corner. He asks if he can help him and doesn't get a response, so just sort of stands there for a bit. And it is f***ing hilarious how this scene is cut together. It just seems to go on forever. Come on, guys, please, would you just get on with it? Jesus f***ing Christ! Stephen chases the priest down and uses the crucifix to rip the man open. He then breaks his spine, which Ian stomps on, forcing it out of his arsehole. Cut to the choir boy, all the priests are definitely not f***ing who Ian attacks, slashing him open as Stephen rips off the sleeping guy's head. Finally, this guy tries to crawl away but gets his neck ripped open and the men feast. Cut to this nun as she's approached by a naked angel and the boys douse the church in gasoline. The angel then goes down on the nun. Look, movie, when I said I wanted to see the angel eat the nun's Wait. I did this joke last week, didn't I? Okay. Oh, right. How about this? No, Angel, no! You're supposed to leave the ham in the sandwich! Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Peak comedy. Peak comedy. Cut to the boys burning down the church in a possible reference to the band Mayhem, and we get this great use of a miniature. I know this movie's super cheap, but f*** me is it creative. I'm genuinely impressed. Cut to our daily dose of tits covered in blood as the angel's wings reveal the nun dead. Mercy, you'll get none. Cut to morning rainfall and then to Stephen waking up and pulling the blinds down. Because, he's a vampire, you see. Next, we join Ian as he cleans his gun and Stephen asks how he feels. Ian says he feels alive, more alive than ever before, and Stephen starts to tell him about a dream he had last night.
I was staring at a black lake, and all these children kept walking towards me with their hands reaching out for me. But they couldn't walk on the water. They just kept coming towards me until their little faces disappeared into the blackness.
Yeah, that's all well and good, Sergeant face, but can you do me a favor? Don't tell me about your fucking dream you had last night. The single most boring thing one person can do to another is to tell them about the crazy dream they had last night. That goes for you lot too out there, yeah? If you're ever thinking about doing it, please just understand the other person does not give a single I would rather shit in my hands and clap than have you tell me about your dream. Alright? They wax poetic about how good it felt killing the clergymen when Stephen asks what they're up to for today. Ian says it's time for some revenge and we cut to these fellas hanging out. This one tells a story about beating up some 16-year-olds at a bar when this guy hands him a box he found outside, and this one talks about taping the Battlestar Galactica marathon tonight. Kangol Cap finally opens the box and inside finds a severed head.
Man, I think it's Rob.
You think it's Rob? How can you tell? He's not exactly in recognizable shape. Also in the box they find a note from our heroes telling them where to find them and challenging them to a dance-off. Not really, but it would be funny. As perfect as this movie is, I really wish it had gone in that direction. Cut to Ian and Stephen waiting with Steve perched up on the car like a head. The bad guys then pull up and gets rowdy. Check out the stunts going on here. This movie is next level, man. Ian and Stephen run into their warehouse and the bad guys follow for an epic shootout. I'm having the best time. We then get this line.
You realize we don't even need these, you know.
Yeah, I know, but it's fun, isn't it?
And they continue fighting. We even get a fucking John Woo reference. And I love this cut as well. I don't know what it is, but cutting to him slumped like that after so many bullets really got me. The death and destruction continues when Stephen is tagged by Kangol and goes down, leaving Ian to attack. He gets kicked into this hole and falls when the bad guy shoots a tank which explodes and we actually get a mini fire stunt. And that's it. This movie is now officially better than John Wick 4. I literally love it. Ian finally takes the guy out and we cut to this fire. Stephen is sitting collecting his thoughts when he's jump scared by an angel who reminds him he has a job to do.
We don't want to have a repeat performance of today's activities.
Hilarious. Stephen picks up a feather left by the angel, throws it into the fire and watches it burn. Cut to him in bed as the door creaks open. Creaky door. And then to his nightmare. Here we see an angel being racked by a demon, maybe? Then this thing wakes him up. No idea, mate. Moving on. Stephen hears the sound from his nightmare and goes to investigate when he's joined by this demon fella, Lynx Vosmia.
Relax. I'm not here to harm you.
What the hell are you?
I am Lynx Vosmia, minion of the Dark Realms, unseen by mortal man.
He explains the angels thought God would give them the earth for their service to him, but gave it to the humans instead, devastating them. Now they want to destroy the humans, and Stephen clocks this is the reason they're creating vampires.
So they created us into what we are just to carry out their vengeance?
They're just using you. And when you're no longer needed by them, they'll just destroy you.
Stephen accuses the demon of doing the same thing, and he says he does need him to do something, but he'll be rewarded.
And if you should join us, I will reward you with the gift of true immortality. But you must understand that true immortality means no longer exist in the human world, only in spirit form.
So you'll be a ghost then, for all eternity. What the f***'s the point in that? Stephen wants to know more, so the demon tells him he needs him to kill an angel. The demon will then feed on their blood and be in unity with them.
So I may feed on her. With the blood of an angel in my veins, I can be in unity with them.
Steven says they're too strong, but the demon tells him he'll turn him into a demon, but it'll take some time. Steven accepts these terms and the demon summons this thing onto the bed. And here we get another fantastic edit, probably my favorite of the whole movie. Steven sucks the demon tentacles down, coughs up some green shit, and has a little chuckle to himself. The demon then tells him to go find something, but if I know what it was.
Now go find nourishment for your wants.
I tried turning the volume up, but for the life of me, I just can't understand what the is saying. He's probably saying go and get the angel or something, but I've got no idea. The demon disappears and we cut to this random sign, a squirrel. Oh, hello, mate. The sun's setting and a cross that turns red. Cut to Ian looking at records for hours until he falls asleep. Oh, this guy's a party animal. Who am I to judge, though? At least he's not himself silly to slaughtered vomit dolls. We see something fly out of a window and cut to Steven landing like a boss in the mist. He looks around for a second when suddenly he's attacked by another vampire.
Hello, Steven.
Alright, mate.
I must say I really like this immortality thing. Right now, as we speak, Chris and Billy Ray are thanking Ian for theirs.
The vampires lunge at each other with Steven getting the first hit and then go at it again with more definitive results. Nice. Cut to this burned up body hitting the floor and then to the angel nursing Ian back to health. Not gonna lie to you, when I first saw that body, I thought it was Ian and I was like, oh no, Ian's dead, what the f***? Which just goes to show how invested in the story I am and how retarded I am for being this invested in the story. Ian says he doesn't understand as the man who attacked him was Billy Ray Douglas and he killed him, but the angel reminds him that the boys bit their foes after shooting them, so they're vampires now. It would have been nice if someone earlier had pointed out that that guy was Billy. I thought they were just Billy's lackeys or something. Maybe like when the guy got given the box, be like, oh Billy, this is for you. Then we would have known it was Billy. And it would have been way more important when he got taken out. Just a thought. She asks where Steven is, but Ian says he doesn't know as he disappeared the night of the shooting. The angel then asks why Ian became a drug dealer.
I make money off of some subhuman's weakness.
I knew I liked you for a reason.
Cut to Steven meeting back up with a demon, which is really fun to say.
You've done good. Take this and eat it.
Oh god, what's it gonna be? Demon penis? It's demon penis, isn't it? Oh, thank God. I thought you were gonna... Oh, man. Well, I did have baby for breakfast, but seeing as it's you... Cut to Ian driving. He pulls up at a graveyard, goes for a stroll, takes a sniff of the air, then cracks on, breaking into a run and finally discovering an angel dead as f***ing pinned to a tree. I'm assuming it's an angel because of the feathers on the floor and the fact that the skeleton still has tits. Cut to this house where Angeline is feeding on some randomer. So angels are vampires too? Then why make vampires? She hears Steven echoey call her name and looks around.
Hello, Angeline.
Steven? It's been a long time.
Has it? I swear it's only been a couple of days. Angeline then says she missed him and that he was her favourite one. She says she really enjoyed the night she made him, and even after he blacked out, she stayed staring at his big brown eyes. While he was asleep. How'd you do that then? This scene is confusing. We then get a shot of Steven's new eyes cluing Angeline in on his power. Angeline then flies away, and I really love the way that they shot this. You know when you write a script and scale it back for shooting? It seems like Brian Paulin wrote his script and went, right, how do we do it? The pair crash into this room and Steven starts pressing down on the angel's body, breaking her bones until she pops. to this angel in blue light, and this, I assume, angel finding Angeline and then Ian confronting Stephen. And you gotta remember, we're dealing with some pretty big stakes here, so is about to get super dramatic.
So what the hell do you think you're doing? Surviving. I don't think you understand the consequences of your actions. I understand everything now.
Stephen grabs his friend with his weird demon powers, but Ian is able to break free and the pair start a high-speed chase in the air. Ian finally catches up to Stephen when we cut to this girl peacefully sleeping in bed.
Get Alpha away.
Jesus, Ian, no need for that, mate. The pair fight for a bit, eventually making it to the garage where Stephen takes off flying again with Ian in hot pursuit. Stephen then starts blowing things up before crashing through this window. Ian stabs him with a katana, then watches as Stephen gets all demony. Ian calls him an abomination as Stephen removes the sword and reveals the bloody angel. He then pulls a gun on Ian and goes into a very hard to hear monologue.
Come any closer, boy.
Ian reminds his friend that destroying the angel will kill him and vomits water into his face. The angel breaks free, grabs the sword and buries it in Stephen's head, killing him. They chill for a minute when the angel coughs up a shitload of blood as the demon attacks her. The demon then explodes into a giant ball of white light and just sort of fucks off. The angel says it's her time and that Ian will be coming with her, then dies. We then watch Ian melt. Cut to the angels in the blue light as they comment on the recent events, saying they'll have to try something new. We next see them in the woods looking about when one of them lays down and the other pulls the katana out and cuts a tree. The tree cuts on her face, neck and chest as the ground starts to bleed and one of the angels is suddenly naked. A skeleton then begins to rise out of the ground as we see a possum in a tree, randomly. The skeleton then goes down on the naked angel who comes, and then this happens. What the f***ing happened there then? We then watch it rain for a bit as blood trickles down the angel feather and the film cuts to black. The end! Well, I think we finally found me a brand new director to obsess over. At Dawn They Sleep is the most fun I've had at the movies in a really, really long time. While the budget means some of the effects don't look the most convincing, the pure passion the director has for the project is right up on the screen and it's hard not to be charmed by the sheer ambition. The story packs in a lot as we find two drug lords who get changed into vampires by angels to destroy the human race so they can take back the earth, but then a demon gives one of them demon powers to kill the angels, but is killed by an angel who is then killed by the demon, killing the other vampire. Yeah, it's a lot. You gotta give the writer credit for not only mashing together genres, but also giving the vampire origin a new twist by literally involving angels and demons. Don't think I've ever seen that before. That being said, please don't even bother asking me what happened at the end. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments on what the f*** was actually going on there. When it comes to the performances, I don't think anyone would be shocked to find out that they're all pretty awful. Brian Paulin has definitely given it his all, but yeah, not many classically trained thespians in this one. In terms of the gore, we get a surprising amount of stuff here. Some nice blood sprays, a ham sandwich being munched on, a severed head, guts, and a vampire being melted down to nothing at the end. Obviously, none of it looks real, but considering all of it was done by, you guessed it, writer, director, editor, and star Brian Paulin, you gotta give them some credit. Also, the demon looked pretty awesome to me, but maybe that's because it was mostly just shown in the dark. Anyway, good stuff. In terms of the presentation, here's where the film impressed me the most. Brian Paulin really gets creative with a lot of the shots, absolutely refusing to change his script to make it cheaper or easier to film. Burning down a church? Bring in a miniature. High-speed flying vampire chase? Shoot 'em up close and get me the fan. I really love it. Where the film is less successful, however, is with the sound, as the dialogue audio is mostly terrible, especially when they bring in that awful echo effect, and the original score isn't very impressive either. I did find some of the editing unintentionally hilarious, but I guess all of that is to be expected with a film like this. It's a feature rather than a flaw. In the end, At Dawn They Sleep is a film I can't help but love simply for how much the director shot for the stars. He refused to hold anything back and came up with solutions to problems most others would probably just cut from the script entirely. It's easily a film that fits into the so bad it's good camp, but also has a heart and soul that you can't ignore. If the rest of Brian's films are half as good as this, we're gonna have a fun next couple of weeks. This is another party viewing that I'd have to recommend with a few beers and a whole group of friends. So that was my review for At Dawn They Sleep. What do you lot think? Honestly, I've been putting this one off for ages, and I'm so glad I finally covered it because I had an absolute blast. I cannot wait to see what other horrible stuff Brian attempts to put on screen in the future. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a big-titted angel seduce a nun and then eat a ham sandwich right off her body. Speaking of which, if you want to see a skeleton go down on an angel completely uncut and early, head over to patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons. There you can find the uncut version of this review, plus others with more stuff being added all the time. We got the uncut reviews, Patreon exclusive reviews, slasher comic breakdowns, commentaries coming soon, the podcast coming soon, and of course the Discord. And all that could be yours for as little as $2 a month. You can pledge more, I really appreciate it, but don't. Instead, go to gofundme.com/The Big Studio Upgrade. We're doing a fundraiser to upgrade the studio so I can start streaming, so if you want to see that, go and donate anything you can now. So that's it for another week. Like the video, leave a comment, and click subscribe if you haven't already. My name's Jonjo Lyons and McFatty. Okay? You happy now? McFatty. I need to find a better way of doing this.